Good?
I think I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Arizona didn't last long, huh?
Oh, come on now. I'm just back here for a week.
All right. Welcome to episode 149 of Auto Off Topic.
Live at in-house.
That's right.
No experimental processes this week.
No, not at all.
Last week's experimental process kind of failed a little bit.
It certainly did.
Yeah, we had some trouble layering two recorded files. That's why there was a bit of an echo last week.
Yeah.
So we apologize for the audio quality or lack thereof.
Yeah. Nope. Now it's back to normal.
Yeah, there'll be 2 or maybe 3 episodes recorded while I'm here.
Certainly try to.
So, yeah. We'll be able to have some normal audio quality for a little while.
Yeah. So, Brad, how did you get here?
A combination of different forms of transportation. I took an Uber to the airport and an airplane to Dallas-Fort Worth.
I got out of bed and I brushed my teeth.
And then an airplane from Dallas-Fort Worth to Huntsville, Alabama. That's where the fun really started.
Ah.
I've had my eyes on a certain bizarre Mitsubishi Eclipse for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up for sale for a very reasonable price of entry, during a time when I had some free time and a little extra cash to pick it up. So one thing led to another, and I now own another 1G Eclipse, 1G DSM.
Cool.
Yeah, so do we want to start with what the car is? Did we talk about it already? I think we did, right?
You did. So you can quickly recap it.
It was a German market 1993 Mitsubishi Eclipse 4G63 car, 5-speed, but no turbo.
And it's a 93 and has pop-ups.
Correct.
Which was only 9091 for the U.S. market.
Right, but the German market got pop-up headlights through the entire run of the first generation Eclipse, which is weird.
It is weird.
So it's a fully loaded, well, except for the really rare options. It doesn't have a target top. But it has it has all of the options that a German market Eclipse would have had in 93. So cruise control, air conditioning, power antenna, power windows, 2-liter 4G63. Decent car. Nice car. It's fun. It's not ever going to be fast like a Turbo Talon or like Turbo Eclipse.
Nope.
But it's still a good platform. It handles well. It's fun to drive. It's not a drag strip car, so I don't expect it to be, but I do enjoy driving it. And that 4G63 is... I've never driven a naturally aspirated one before.
I hadn't either.
Yeah, it still has a good amount of low-end grunt. I was surprised, actually. Like when you are in second gear, just kind of idling along, and you roll into it, it feels peppy. It's not fast by any means, but it's quick enough to have fun, and it's a good momentum, slow car, fast kind of car.
Well, it's a 2-liter dual cam 4-cylinder, so it's not super big to spin up.
No,
and it breathes pretty well. So
yeah, no, it's a fun little car to drive. So I flew to Huntsville, Alabama. A friend of the show, Nate Smith, is a Mitsubishi nerd like us who lives down there, which is not the place you would find a Mitsubishi nerd, you wouldn't think.
Maybe the king or contender.
He's up there. There's a few. There's a few, but he's definitely has...
his collection far outweighs anything I have. The amount, right?
Well, I mean, car-wise, number-wise, he's got 4 Mitsubishis right now.
Yeah. It's the memorabilia, though, I think, right?
4.5 Mitsubishis right now, because he has Mighty Max turned into a trailer. So, yeah, he has a really cool collection of literature. Mm-hmm. That's what his memorabilia collecting is. He has some great cars. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I've known about Nate for quite a few years because he built a first generation Dodge Colt. So the first generation Mitsubishi Galant based ones.
Yep.
That was featured. Do you remember back in the early days of YouTube, the Turbo Tom's Garage? Mm-hmm. It was on there.
Still around.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it. And he did Hot Rod Power Tour with a 4-cylinder Colt.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's really neat. That car is super clean. It's a California car. Really nice and straight. No rust anywhere. Clean interior. And it has a 1.7 from a Galant GTO swapped into it. Dual carb and all.
So that's like a super rare engine because we talked about how few of those
Yes.
cars they actually made.
Yep. It's not the twin cam; it's a single cam, but
But still,
pretty cool. Yeah.
so it's not a GTO MR,
Right. It would be a regular 1.7 GTO.
just a regular GTO.
Yeah. So that's in his first gen Colt, which is a really cool car. He has another pretty decently solid first gen Colt that's in the process of being 4G63 swapped.
Cool.
So that car's not nearly as nice. It's a nice car, don't get me wrong, but it's not as like showroom quality or car show quality as the orange car is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's being 4G63 swapped with a big turbo and a Ford 8.8 and a T56.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be a fun car.
Mm-hmm.
He also has a, I forget if it's a Talon or an Eclipse, and he's going to murder me for that. But it is a 1GB all-wheel drive car that belonged to a friend of his who unfortunately passed. So he'll be holding onto that car for quite some time. If you go back to, there was a video in 2014 of a North American rally event, which is one of those like point-to-point road rallies
Mm-hmm.
that Matt Farah did a whole thing on in the Smoky Mountains. And there's actually like probably a minute-long segment about that car on that video.
Oh, now that you mentioned that in the Smoky Mountains, I remember him talking about that
Yeah,
on the Smoking Tire a couple of years ago.
yeah, a few years back.
Hmm.
So that's cool. He has a Montero as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, his literature collection is really cool. I had never seen some of this stuff before. The original performance catalogs from Mopar in the 70s with all the part numbers and stuff to pretty much take your showroom fresh Colt and build it into a autocross or a showroom stock race car or a rally car or a drag car or any of those things. So the coolest thing is that on the cover of one of the Direct Connection catalogs, that was the name of the Mopar aftermarket parts division. It was called Direct Connection. Is a 74, 75-ish two-door Colt drag car. Full NHRA setup, livery, and everything. And the driver's name on the passenger side window is DeSantis.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have to do some digging to find out who that is. Find out who my long-lost relative is who secretly somehow got me into Colts from before I was born.
So speaking of Colts, what do we do with yours today?
Well, before we did that, I drove the car home from Alabama. We were skipping ahead part of the
Oh,
story.
right.
Yeah. So I bought the German Eclipse from Nate, and he is an epic person because he did a lot of the maintenance stuff that I wanted to make sure was done before the car was shipped. But not shipped, before I drove the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to like pull out onto the highway in the middle of Alabama and have a timing belt snap or just something let go and be stuck. So he did everything that needed to be done. And I can't thank him enough for that because everything worked out great and the car made it home.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove the car from Alabama to Danville, Virginia.
Yep.
Because the pictures we posted of the car have all been of the passenger side.
Yeah.
Because there is a pretty big dent on the driver's side behind the door in front of the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be repaired. And I had found the parts that I needed to repair it in Danville, Virginia. So I stopped there on the way home. I was kind of sore at halfway in between. And then drove the car the rest of the way home. So it's here now. Hopefully it'll be in the body shop tomorrow, fingers crossed, getting that dent fixed. And then you and I are going to jump back in it. And
well, there's something else. We're going to go to New England Forest Rally in between that, but
yeah, in a week from
tomorrow.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow, we're going to jump back in the car and drive it across the country back to yet another Radwood event. So that should be fun.
All right, so back to the Colt, which is why my brain is fried today. What did we do with the Colt today?
We woke up at like 4:30 in the morning.
Yep.
We got in the Colt and we drove down to Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And we participated in the Rhode Island Mini Melee.
Yeah. Where's the name come from? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
The gentleman who's put the event together, Chris,
Uh-huh.
participated in the California Melee,
Mm-hmm.
which is a vintage car rally in California.
Okay.
And that's why he called it the Mini Melee, because that's his inspiration came from there. And he decided to call it the Melee because it's the same kind of event, but it's here in the East Coast, and it was just a little half-day event here versus a whole weekend out there.
Yeah.
So
We don't have the space, unfortunately.
no, we definitely do not, as we learned today for sure. But I'll tell you, it was certainly a good group of cars came out.
It's a good group of cars and a good group of people.
Yep.
And then nothing to fault the organizer if there could be a wide opener of space.
Yeah. Yeah. The
For
problem is we're trying to do something in populated New England.
Yeah.
So, you have...
Because nobody wants to drive half a day to Vermont to drive around half a day and then drive home.
I mean, I bet people would, but the problem is nobody wants to plan it.
Yeah.
Because it's been a lot of
It's
time up there
hard.
planning the routes. Yeah, we've
And
tried it
even-
a few times.
Even like a regular SCCA TSD around here in our region
Mm-hmm.
they don't go off very often anymore because they're just difficult to plan.
Yep.
And there's only like one guy that's the rally master.
Yep.
And he does a really good job with them, but it takes him a long time to do it. So.
Right. Yeah, no, so this was, unfortunately, for listeners who don't live in New England, most of New England is lived in.
Yep.
So there's not a lot of open back roads that don't have any residential addresses on them. So when you're out in an event and you want to drive your car, obviously you want to drive your car in a spirited manner. I mean, we're not talking, it's not a race. It's just a back road event. And then you get a bunch of people together in that spirited manner,
It's infectious.
yeah, the general nature of people is you're not competing, but
These weren't young people either.
no,
No
we
offense.
were probably the youngest people there. I mean, I think the organizers probably about our age, but the majority of the group was aged beyond our years for sure. But the cars were cool. So we took my 78 Colt because it kind of fit the aesthetic of the event best.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically a 1975 and down rally.
Yeah.
But they're a little fast and loose with that rule.
Aluminum bumpers, stuff like that.
Yeah, but like there was a 944 there, which doesn't really fit the aesthetic, but it was like, it's a 944 and it's, it's okay. But yeah, most cars there were chrome or aluminum bumpered, and there was a Citroen SM.
Citroen was really, really cool.
That was really neat. A couple MGBs.
The Morgan plus
Yeah.
4.
It was 1980 Morgan plus 4. That was really cool.
That was probably my favorite car.
Yeah, and it was a hot rodded too. Like
Yeah.
it looked stock, but it had like a burly engine and
And then
modified carburetor.
I really liked the P1800 that was there.
It was a white
and the
P1800.
Citroen.
There was a really ratty Spitfire that somebody stuffed the GT6 engine into, which sounded really cool.
Oh yeah.
And that was probably hairy to drive because those cars are not exactly
Yeah.
stiff cars.
Did you realize that guy was wearing like a Real Tree T-shirt at the end of the day?
Yes.
Because at the halfway point, he got out of the car and he was in the gas station in front of me, and his like T-shirt of the event was just completely soaked
Was it really?
with sweat. Yeah, so he like bought at the gas station because that's apparently all you can get is a Real Tree camo
That's
shirt.
funny.
That's why he was wearing it.
I did not notice the change of clothing. No, I noticed at the end of the day he was wearing a Real Tree shirt, and I thought the Real Tree camo shirt went right along with the aesthetic of his Spitfire.
it did.
So I didn't even question it. But yeah, also for people outside of New England, it was like 90 degrees today, and it was 62% humidity,
It's perfect.
and none of those cars had air conditioning, so everybody was soaked. It wasn't just him.
Yeah.
It was a hot day. So, and I mean, you're driving quickly, and it gets
All the cars made
warm
it
in the
though.
car. Yeah, all the cars made it. They did have a hard luck trophy, which if you go back, I don't know if it was on our Instagram page or my personal one, there are pictures of a green MGB along with my blue Colt. Our friend Ben, and he won the hard luck award because he scrambled all day Friday and Saturday because he blew a head gasket on Thursday getting ready for the event. So, but he scrambled and he got it together and he completed the event. So that's positive. So he got the hard luck award. Yeah,
we almost had the hard luck award on the way down in the Colts.
Yeah, we had some mechanical maladies on the way to the event, unfortunately.
The halfway down, I mean, we were like 20 minutes from my house, and the charge light started to flicker.
The charge light and the e-brake light started
I was like,
started
cool.
flashing. Yeah.
I love old cars with electrical problems. This is
Yeah.
this is what I've been working on for the last
This is
month.
my wheelhouse. And I'm panicking a little bit. I'm like, great. I actually flew back to Boston early. I came back to Boston early to do this event before the New England Forest Rally, and my car is going to break down on the way to the event.
Yeah.
Great. just what I wanted to happen.
So we made it to the rest stop.
So we were 20 minutes from Andrew's house, and our decision-making skills said, let's just keep driving. We'll figure it out.
Honestly, it was probably 20 minutes to the rest stop.
Mm-hmm.
So,
except then, if we did break down, we were 40 minutes from home instead of 20.
Yeah, but only like, I guess it's about 20 miles.
Yeah, or at least.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
But still, our decision-making skills said, let's press on regardless.
To me, that's not that far away from home. So
no, it's not.
I wasn't that worried.
But we got to the gas station, and it wasn't flashing the whole time. It was intermittent.
No, you hit a bump and it would stop.
Yeah, so we're like, maybe there's a dirty connection somewhere on the alternator.
Yeah, or the battery terminals
or the
work
battery
loose.
or something. Yeah. So we pulled into the gas station and opened the hood, and it was immediately obvious what happened. Like, it was painfully obvious. So where the external voltage regulator plugs into the back of the alternator, the plastic clip that holds all the wires into the alternator, the connector itself
broke.
is from 1978, and it was brittle, and the tab that holds it in place just broke off.
Mm-hmm.
So there was nothing holding it in the alternator, so it was slowly backing off, and every time it backed off far enough, it would give a charging indication.
Now, you didn't have any zip ties in your roadside kit, which is a mistake.
Apparently, it is a mistake, because I had my roadside kit, which has everything in it.
You didn't have duct tape?
Except for zip ties and duct tape, which are essential.
Yeah. So, luckily, our friend Chris was going to this event, too, so you called him.
Yep.
And he brought some cable ties, because he hadn't left his house yet.
Yeah, well, first we asked him, when we first started having an electrical problem, we're like, hey, bring a multimeter, please?
Yeah.
So he brought a multimeter, cable ties, and duct tape.
Yeah.
So we figured with those three things, we weren't going to get stuck anywhere.
No. And then when we got to the start, it was like a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. Everybody's hanging out. I was like, all right. And I just zip tied the cable.
Yeah, so you put a zip tie from around the back of the alternator behind the connector up to the bracket, the adjusting bracket for the alternator, just to hold it in place.
Yeah.
And it worked all day.
Yeah.
So no complaints. I might be a permanent fix
is
now,
that
to be honest with
a
you.
permanent repair?
Well, the engine in that car is getting tired. So
Yes.
the engine's going to have to come out of that car.
Oh, yeah. So that brings to, it ran just fine all day.
It ran great. Drove down there just fine. Drove the event just fine. It wasn't being babied at all today.
And then coming home.
It just started overheating.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
We had the heat on.
Yep.
It's just getting hotter.
Yep.
We stopped to let it cool off. It really wasn't down that much on water. I don't know why it's overheating. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
You got to check it with a infrared thermometer again. Make sure the temperature gauge is not bad because it doesn't smell hot.
Yeah, we got to figure out what's
going on.
on.
It's not steaming.
But that's not why the engine's tired either. The engine's just tired. Like it's starting to smoke a little bit on startup, and the higher RPM power is gone.
Got a little blow by.
Yeah, it's getting tired. So I probably will not be repairing the alternator wiring until we put a new engine in the car. So
yeah,
stay tuned for what happens there. But honestly, I'm just gonna drive it till it doesn't drive anymore. I'm not gonna, or until it's. What am I gonna do? It's
get an engine ready in the meantime.
Yeah, for sure. But in the meantime,
so it doesn't just sit down and never get fixed.
Well, it's a little bit of a problem because it lives in Massachusetts and I live in Arizona. So
well, that's an easy thing with a truck and a trailer.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's impossible when you're towing $1,000 cars. You pay $1,000 to tow your $1,000 car across the country.
Hey, you chose that life.
I did. Both lives, the Arizona life and the cheap car life. But moral of the story is we made it home.
We did.
Zip ties, overheating, burning oil.
It's not like
smelling exhaust fumes because the exhaust pipe broke off behind the axle.
People were like, wow, so that's cool, you're fixing it with zip ties. And I was like, yeah, this is like I was like, you don't know the things that I fixed.
You don't know Brad's car collection.
Or like, I mean, I am like
the spaghetti golf.
Yeah, I am we'll get to spaghetti golf. That car is more riv nuts and zip ties than car.
You are a certified zip tie engineer is basically what you're trying to say. Yes,
I am.
It's funny because we don't love zip ties. We like them for like neatening up cables.
No, I use them like for their intended purpose.
Right.
They're good. They're perfect. I mean, they're like, I don't know what you'd do without them. Like they are.
Well, you wouldn't have mounted the washer tank in the Volkswagen, so
that was all our buddy Andy. So
that's real engineering.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. They're all holding these mic wires to the
Mm-hmm.
to the things, but
That's what they're designed for. They're cable ties.
I mean, they're just so useful. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably the greatest invention.
Next to duct tape and WD-40.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them even better than duct tape
Wow.
because they're not like sticky and annoying, and they don't generally. If you do it right, they don't fail.
No. Although I had that one when I was working on Ron's car that didn't have enough bite in the teeth. And so it was the first time I'd worked on cars in his garage, and he's like, "Yeah, why don't you zip tie the caliper up out of the way?" And I was like, "All right, cool." And I'm sitting there.
Use a thin one. Sometimes you got to use heavier ones for those.
It didn't matter. You couldn't hold anything with it.
You had a defective zip tie.
It was a defective zip tie.
That is your luck.
But I was standing there, and it's literally the first thing he's asked me to do since I've lived in Arizona and worked in a car in his garage. I'm like, he's gonna sit here. He's gonna think this guy can't even put a zip tie on a car. What is he even talking about all this time? But it turned out to be a defective zip tie, it was frustrating. So I was trying to put it on, and like I can't really see what I'm doing, so I'm flipping it around the other way, and it's still not working. I'm like, I know I had it right the first time. It just doesn't do anything.
Guy doesn't know how to use a cable tie.
There were no teeth on it. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he looked at me like, you need to leave my garage now. Look on his face. And he did. He's like, oh shit, this is not working at all. So.
All right, some Project Car updates.
The Colt. No.
Spaghetti Golf. This is the other reason why we basically missed an episode. So you were driving.
The main reason we missed an episode is because I was traveling. Yeah.
And then it's been all hands on deck thrashing on the car to get it together because the rally is next weekend.
Yeah. It's
literally
a
like
week from 3 days ago.
So not this Saturday. The Saturday prior, it was up on 4 jack stands with no doors, no fenders, no hood,
no radiator support.
No radiator. Yeah, no rear support, no radiator. And now, as we record this episode, they're driving around on the street. So
yep. It sounds like a proper rally car.
Yes. Like, first of all, the last time we left off, I cleaned up a bunch of the wiring, installed the wiring harness they got to do the ABA swap, but it wouldn't start. We would get it to turn over, that we weren't getting the fuel pump to come on. It was kind of weird. So we're like, all right, let's get my dad involved.
Time to bring out the big guns.
Electrical guru. So brought him up there. We're playing with it. With the power probe out, we're checking things. If we primed the fuel, like if we triggered the fuel pump and primed the fuel rail and manually, you get the car to turn over and start, and then it would die and run out of fuel because the fuel pump wouldn't keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of like scratching our heads. So this entire time, I had not hooked up the alternator or the charging wire because we were just fucking around with it, and I didn't want to like ruin the alternator by just like constantly starting it. I don't know. We were just just turning over the engine, so I didn't want the alternator connected.
Well, given their history with alternators.
Yeah. So my dad's like looking at, like, we ordered some dinner and we're sitting there, and he's real quiet over there. He's like, I got it.
Contemplating. Yep.
We're like, what? And he's like, I don't think the relay's getting closed. It doesn't have enough voltage. I was like, let's hook up the alternator. So we hooked up the alternator, and we primed the pump first and got the car to start. And once it started, there's enough voltage going, it would close the relay
and just run
the fuel pump.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, cool.
So the relay, the fuel pump doesn't click on until the engine is turning, basically.
Because the alternator is now putting out 14 volts.
Okay.
When you're starting the car, the starter was dragging the battery voltage down
to 11 something, probably.
Yeah, 11.6, right? Which is pretty normal, but it wasn't enough to close that relay and connect full 12 volt power to the fuel pump.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, all right, no big deal. It's just like, that's it, right? So we were doing other stuff to the car. Because we hadn't quite finished the wiring, we go back to it, and now it's doing the same thing where it just won't start unless we prime the fuel pump first.
Right.
Which is super annoying. So I think what's happening is it's not the battery cable I have to the fuse panel, because we basically added a marine fuse panel under the hood to eliminate the fusible links that this Golf had.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, yes, I could have built an entire harness for this car if I had like 3 or 4 months to do it, instead of patching up the original and this other harness that we got and sort of melding them together. But regardless, it's like 98% there.
Right. So what is the solution?
I think now it's having a voltage drop between the cable that goes from the positive battery terminal to the fuse panel.
So the cables are too small.
I don't think the cable is big enough.
All right, that's just not carrying enough current then.
Exactly. And part of the problem, too, now we're going to have is that we have to run longer cables into the car for a cutoff for a kill switch.
Yeah, it's got an emergency cutoff switch.
It's kind of annoying, but we'll figure it out. Even if the worst case thing, the quickest thing we do is just install a prime button that will trigger the relay by just a push button momentary switch, and you'll prime it, and then you can fire it up, and then just you're fine.
I mean, it's also an anti-theft device.
Yeah, I mean, if the car has been running recently, it'll start right up.
Okay.
Because
there's enough fuel in the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a little annoying quirk we have to figure out.
Right.
But I got the high beams working. I got the horn to work. I got the fans to work. I think the temp switch is too high. It's got like something the temp switch comes on at like 210 or something.
Ugh.
And it's like at the furthest corner in the radiator away from the engine. So it's probably not ever getting that hot at the radiator.
Mm-hmm.
But I wired in an override, so that works for him. Yeah, we just did a bunch of stuff. Oh, I fixed the reverse lights, so they work with the swapped transmission.
Okay. Man, I missed a lot when I was gone. I didn't know any of these were issues.
Oh my gosh, it was, and I've spent probably 30 hours on wiring.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Jordan, Andy, and Liz are doing all the other stuff to this car.
Right.
Like, if one person was doing this, it would not be done.
Not a chance.
It took everyone to get this done. So, hopefully once they're done with the rally, I know once they're done with the rally because I told them this was part of me helping them fix the wires. They're going to come on the show and we'll talk all about
wiring
this project and why maybe you should build and not buy a rally car, as people have told us. Yeah. It probably would have been easier to start out this wiring with the stock car.
Of course it would have been.
Instead of like patching work on patchwork like an old house.
Well, that's been the problem with this car from day one. You remember back to last year, we had a similar problem when we were just trying to bleed the brakes.
Yeah.
Because somebody had put calipers from a different year car on, and they'd put them in the wrong positions, and the bleeders were too high or too low. So.
Yeah. So that's that'll be a good episode, I hope.
The good news is that they've now made this car like reliable and as mint as a rusty shell can be.
Okay. Hopefully.
I'm knocking wood.
Fingers crossed.
I'm knocking wood.
It's gonna finish.
Of course it is.
I know it'll finish.
It finished last year. It's gonna finish this year.
It'll finish.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot quicker.
Yeah, for sure. It runs way better.
Jordan already texted me earlier. Said it was a hoot to drive around town.
Nice.
So.
Did they do the alignment yet?
Yeah, so I let him borrow the alignment plates. It's a little bit off, and I was trying to explain to him over text how to do it. It's kind of hard to explain via text because aligning's kind of weird. I don't know if he had the rack centered when he put the steering column in perfectly, so that could be the issue. And because his measurement's the same, but one wheel's cocked. And I'm like, you kind of have to eyeball them straight.
Yeah. And
then sort of split the difference. And that's how you kind of get them straight. It's not the most perfect way, but it's good enough for a rally car on dirt to do camber plate, alignment plates.
Well, I mean, we did your Talon with it, and you drove it all the way to Philadelphia or back.
Yeah, the tires haven't worn weird. I double-checked
the steering was a little off to the left, but...
Only sometimes, though.
That's not good. That means something's worn out somewhere.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. Most of the time it's fine, and the steering feels fine. I'm not sure.
Because I drove that car for the first time in a long time today, and it's the first thing I noticed.
Oh, yeah, because we had the two cars together earlier.
Yeah, probably the first and only time, unless you have moved to Arizona,
Yeah.
that my new DSM and your forever DSM will be in the same place.
Um, and then yeah, I used those plates on the Subaru too, and to double check the Montero, and those cars drive straight.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what's up the Talon. I don't drive it too often, so I'll look at it eventually. I got to do. The plan is hopefully by the end of the year on the Talon, I can do coilovers, and I'll have it officially
Have it
aligned.
like professionally aligned after that.
Yeah,
Corner balance and everything.
yeah, I'll have it done the right way over at Fast Track. The plates are good in between to save you $100 when you're just doing simple stuff at the front of your car.
Yeah. Fast Track bailed my dad out last week too, actually.
Oh yeah, his low mileage RX-7.
Yeah, his 19,000 mile RX-7.
Yeah,
He drives it like 50 miles a year. Like doesn't go anywhere.
yeah, because it's a car
It's
when they're so low they can't
Yeah,
drive them
it's
that much. It's museum quality.
it's legitimately a museum quality car. I don't say that because it's my dad's car. Like it legitimately is a museum quality car. Almost better than new, but somehow still just original.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he drives it like maybe 50 miles a year, just exercise it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which meant that the fuel in the tank in that car was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where it congealed too much in all of the hoses and lines and
All the ethanol.
carburetor specifically, and the car just stopped running.
I don't know if anybody makes anything an additive to combat that.
I think they do. Pretty sure they do.
Yeah?
And I thought there was a way to buy ethanol-free fuel still.
I don't know anywhere that does that around here.
Yeah.
I only ran into it once in 2013 in Tennessee when I was driving cross country.
Oh, really?
And on that tank of gas, I got the best fuel mileage I got out of the entire trip.
Hmm.
Because I got the most actual gas.
Actual fuel, yeah, not corn.
Yeah. Your car does not run. Your fuel economy actually goes down by
Yeah.
running on ethanol.
Oh, of course it does. So does a lot of things.
Yeah.
The longevity of your car, too, because of
Yeah.
the stupid...
Oh, and I ran into this when I was in North Carolina on vacation with Stephanie. They had E85. No. It was 81 octane fuel,
Okay.
but it was 15% ethanol. So
Isn't that what E85 is?
No, E85 is like almost pure ethanol.
Okay. Hold on.
What?
I literally had this discussion earlier today.
Yeah.
And somebody was convinced me that E85 meant that it was 85% fuel
No.
and 15%
No.
ethanol.
No, it's more ethanol. If you run E85, say if you want to do an E85 swap to my Talon, you have to run dual fuel pumps.
Mm-hmm.
You have to run like 1200 cc injectors because you need more of it. It doesn't have ethanol will burn cooler, but it doesn't have the same burn power as
Right.
gasoline.
Right.
That's why you get poor fuel mileage with the 10% ethanol fuels we have now because they have less burn power. We're basically watering down the gas to subsidize corn farmers,
Okay.
and we all lose out on this. It's not good. It's
Yeah.
a stupid government intervention on it. So, if you can get it without it, your car will get way better mileage.
Right. And you can leave it parked for 5 years and not worry about it coming up on you.
Yeah. So then, yeah, I saw this stuff at a gas station in North Carolina. It was 81 octane. It was 15% ethanol, and you could only put it in cars that were like 2009 and newer. It said on the pump.
Okay. Because they'll recalibrate for it automatically.
Yeah, I had a brand new Escalade rental car.
This shit's cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I knew that GM does like that flex fuel shit. And I was like,
Yeah.
it'll figure it out.
Meanwhile, there's an Escalade somewhere in North Carolina that they haven't been able to figure out why it won't start.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we were here. Oh, what do you need to do the Eclipse before you bring it to Redwood?
Okay, so we already mentioned that I'm getting the dent repaired.
Yep.
I'm going to paint from the black rub strips down just to blend it all in on
Okay.
that one side where the dent is.
Oh yeah, we have some beers tonight.
Yeah, some really like heavily carbonated beers.
Yeah.
Um,
Night Shift Everweiss, and the backup is grapefruit sculpin.
Yeah,
which
the
is
Everwise is pretty ridiculous. Anyway, it's a sour and it's
It's really good.
It's delicious. So yeah, paint from the moldings down red.
Yep.
So it blends it in. But most importantly, the mechanical aspects that are left on the car, the front axles need to be replaced.
I like that the car's actually red, not that maroon color that some of them came.
Yeah, it's red. Yeah, I like the maroon too, though. But the red's nice. The whole car will be getting painted eventually when it gets back to Arizona.
Yeah.
But front axles will be done, and there is a ridiculous knocking noise in the rear of the car. You drove it for a few feet. I don't think you heard the same noise I heard. There is a lighter knocking noise that to me sounds like it's almost like a strut noise, like a strut mount.
It sounded like the rear suspension was going to fall out of the car.
Right. But when you step on the brake or pull the e-brake halfway up, the noise goes away.
This one did not go away from me. It was really rattly and really
I don't
bad.
think you pulled the e-brake up hard enough.
We'll
take a ride after recording this so you can hear it. But
the other thing I would check too is make sure that the hatch is not loose.
It's not the hatch.
You'd be surprised.
I can pull the e-brake up and the noise goes away.
This is really rattly and loud.
Yes, that's the noise. And you pull the e-brake up and it goes away.
But it's vibrating through the whole body.
Yep.
I didn't feel that at all.
Well, when we're done recording, we're going to go out and take a ride so I can explain to you with me in the car what's going on.
Okay.
Because I had 1,000 miles to get quite intimate with the sound and its source in the past few days.
You need to put a radio in it.
I do need to put a radio in it.
Because I'm not driving that far with no Bluetooth.
Right.
Bluetooth is my only requirement that any car has.
The other option would be you could print out song lyrics and I could sing the whole way.
That would make me really not want to go.
You're already like, do I really want to drive across country with Brad?
Yeah.
I'm excited about that, though. That trip's going to be fun. But yeah, there will be a radio in it with Bluetooth.
Okay.
I'm either going to take the radio out of the Raider, because it's pretty and it matches the dashboard perfectly. Or I might just go the super simple route, and I have a brand new Pioneer in a box that I got for the Saab and never put it in, and I might slap that in there. So we'll see what's up. But
all right, cool.
Can I shill something right now?
What's that?
Anybody want to buy a Saab?
Yeah. No, I don't.
I know you don't. I'm asking to the audience in the world.
What is it at 98?
It's at 97.
97.
9,000 CSE turbo. Burgundy.
On tan.
Over tan Elmo leather.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I was the manufacturer, but there's this neat little tag on each headrest that says Elmo, a genuine Elmo leather.
Ew.
It's not red and fuzzy, so I know it's not the character from Sesame Street.
You don't.
Actually, I don't know what it looked like underneath his red fuzz.
You don't get, you don't get cow leather with fur on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's suede.
Anyway, it's called Elmo leather. It's a very nice car, actually. It's a solid car. It runs great. It needs front axles swapped in it. The axles are in the car. Ran when parked. Just needs fuel pump.
Sure.
Thumb over plate.
Yeah, he knows what he has.
I don't want
no low balls.
But no, I'd like to sell it while I'm here. That's why I haven't put the axles in it because I have other projects I'm working on. Otherwise, I just slap them in.
I don't need to really sell this. I'm just testing the waters here.
Yeah, but if someone wants a good running car for $1,000, come take a look at it.
Yeah.
So that's all. I like to earn another parking spot back in my garage.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. It's fine.
I think that about covers it.
It's actually our backup car if we can't get axles or something for.
Oh no.
We'll just drive the Saab across country.
Oh no.
Why? It's fine.
All right. Events. We've got there's a Radwood in Seattle.
That's like
4
days away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're in that area.
That's next weekend.
At the LeMay Auto Museum.
Yep. Go check that out. Radwood NorCal is the 27th.
Something like that.
Look it up on the website.
The location is...
You know how to use the internet.
Probably
you listen to podcasts.
TBD at this point still because there was an issue, but everything's going to be good. There'll still be an event.
Yeah. Just look it up on the website.
Yep.
They'll keep you posted.
Posted.
It'll be at specific time.
Yes. In the Pacific time zone.
Southern New Hampshire Cars and Coffee, Sunday, July 21st, at the Coffee Factory, New Hampshire. Check the Facebook event for details.
We will not be at that event.
You will be at Mistlewood in Beverly
Yep.
on Sunday the 21st.
Yes, you might be there too.
I might be. We'll see how I feel at the end of the rally day on Saturday the 20th, so the 19th and 20th.
So Mistlewood is the Mistlewood Concord Elegance.
Mm-hmm.
That is the 21st.
Yep.
Always a good time. Lots of
I've seen
really obscure, obscenely expensive cars.
Teaser photos of what they're having there.
What's going to be there this year? I have not seen any.
Some Ferrari thing,
Some
GTO
Ferrari.
thing.
Sweet.
It'll be a really expensive, rare Ferrari.
Excellent.
It wasn't red, it was silver.
The one that was there last year?
Maybe they were showing photos from last year, but they're...
Yeah, that was last year's car. That was
Okay.
last year's best of show. It's not going to be there this year.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, they were advertising that Paul Russell and Company, the local high-end restoration shop, will be bringing several vehicles.
Yes, because it's the 10th anniversary of the Mistlewood Concord Elegance.
Yes. And that's a big deal because summertime for Paul Russell and Company, they're getting ready for
It's Pebble Beach prep.
Pebble Beach.
Yep.
So for them to bring out cars, you're going to see cars that probably aren't, I can't speak this. They might not be going to Pebble Beach, but
They probably will be going. It probably won't be like their big reveal won't be at Mistlewood, but
Yeah.
they'll probably have either Pebble Beach veterans or cars that will be going there.
yeah. So that stuff is gorgeous. So definitely go check that out if you're just want to stay in the North Shore area. It's in Beverly, Mass. At Endicott College.
Yeah, it's simple to get to. There's plenty of
It's
parking.
on 129.
It's not super expensive. There's food and everything there you can
127.
purchase. 127.
Route 127. Also a great driving little touring road.
Yep. Although it'll be overrun with people
It
and
will.
things this week.
It will, but like to take for a cruise at the speed limit, yeah, it's perfect.
Yes.
And there is on the opposite, so the show is on the ocean side of the highway, overlooks the ocean, and on the college side there's a parking lot, and that will be like a, if you brought an old car.
Yeah, they have vintage car parking that's not concourse parking.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond, so there's a normal car parking lot if you show up in your like 2019 Corolla.
Yeah.
And then there's a specialty car parking lot.
Yep.
Which will be cars that were not invited to the concourse but are still of interest.
Yes.
And then across the street is the actual Concours
Yes.
d'Elegance.
Yeah, very cool. And then we will of course be at the New England Forest Rally, July 19th and 20th based out of Sunny River in Maine, Bethel, Maine. There's a spectator guide. You go to nefr.org, I believe. Just look up New England Forest Rally. Again, you listen to this podcast on the internet, you know how to use the internet, so I'm just going to tell you to Google shit.
Google it.
Yeah, you're good.
Googly. Magooly.
Google it.
Great googly.
Alexa, show me NEFR.
There you go.
Cool. Any other events?
Nothing for me. I live in Phoenix now, and it's quite hot there. So events happen at 5 a.m.
Or at night?
Nope, 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I haven't really learned how to wake up at 5 a.m. yet.
Oh.
So I'm working on
Oh, little tears.
Working on that. There is the Saturday show there, which I still haven't been to yet because they keep coming here. But
Oh.
yeah, when I have something to say, I'll say it. For right now, I have nothing to say. I had nothing to say. I did go to a car show out there.
Okay.
It was like our Wednesday night cruise night show
All
we
right.
have here. I went to one of those out there.
Okay.
And there were 3 cars in the parking lot because it was 110 degrees out.
Yeah.
So
So you don't do cruise nights there. You do like cruise AMs
no, they do cruise nights in the wintertime.
in the winter.
Honestly, the super hot time of year is only a couple of months, and the rest of the year you can go outside and do things.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's that couple of months.
You don't have to justify it to me.
where there's not.
I
a lot.
get it.
Well, we have some friends who continue to harass me for making decisions that I've made. So they shall remain nameless. You can talk to them next weekend when they race
right
the rally
now,
car.
right now, it feels like you were just on vacation for like 3 weeks.
It is weird sitting down here. I feel like I was just here last week and I haven't missed a moment. Hey, this is the living room that I spent the last 2 years doing podcasts in.
Yeah.
Our basement, not living room.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell it is.
Rumpus room.
Yeah, yes. Yes. The 70s game room.
Yeah.
But anyway. No, I have no events to promote other than what you've already promoted, I don't think.
All right, cool. Also, check out the website, the Gearhead Project,
Mhm.
for us. And please rate and review the podcast. A bunch of people have done that. We thank you. We sent out a bunch of stickers. That was
Did we?
super cool. Yeah, I
Awesome.
sent them all out.
Good job. You had them all. So
I had them all. I sent them all out. I actually found more in my camera bag.
We've
so
also been promising a new design for a long time.
Well, that's all you. I'm tapped out.
Okay.
Creative juices are tapped out. I'm putting that on you.
I already have an idea, so we'll make it
I'm
happen.
delegating the new design to you.
All right. So that means you guys will see it in 2022.
Okay. All right. As always, follow us on Instagram, Auto Off Topic. Follow us on Facebook, Auto Off Topic Podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Raced in Anger. Brad, where can they follow you?
TSISS350.
Cool. As always, keep your cars analog and aim for the roses.